Okay, what's going on, everyone? I just thought I'd give a quick market update to show you guys how I analyze the market for a possible breakout. And I put my text SMS alerts on Coinigy, and it just hit me up that we're close to 558. So why I kind of put it around that area it was to see. Obviously, we have a nice little breakout pattern. I normally see, if you can see here, I'm on Bitfinex, which was one of the exchanges that does the most volume and has the most liquidity. But then also I look at Bitcoin to US dollar. Most of the time I look at the daily chart, the daily candle. So this show me the movement or fluctuation of the highs, the lows, the closes, the opens, or the closed open in the matter of a day, a 24-hour period. When it starts to possibly break out, I'll break it into almost a 15-minute to a 1 hour chart. So let's check out 1 hour. Let's see what that looks like. So we can see that we're almost kind of in a nice little breakout pattern there. So for instance, if we look here, we had kind of a lower low, but this is in the 1 hour chart. So each of these candles is the movement that happened within an hour, right? Well, we can see what's happened in the last hour on this candle, and it looks like we're moving quite a bit. So what I want to show real quick is a little tool I use and how I break things down is, for instance, we can see that, I'll keep it on 1 hour. We can see that we had a lot of selling pressure lately over the past few, past few days overall at, what is that, about 666, 670 at the highest. Yeah, 666, 670. Let's bring it down to the prior open or the prior close. So we had, we seem to not be able to break past 665. So that's kind of an indication that if we were to break past here, like so, that would put us in the next area of the Fibonacci retracements. What zones are we likely to hit, and where are we going to pull back? So I can go into the whole halving and the effect that has. Basically, the main thing that I think the halving has the effect on is the amount of Bitcoins that are going into circulation, right? Like, for instance, things like when Silk Road went down, something like $100 million worth of Bitcoins were confiscated. Don't quote me on that number. I have to do my research, but I think that's what I remember. And so what essentially happened was people weren't buying it as necessarily a currency. They were buying it more as to utilize it for the technological spectrum of it. I can transfer value in a matter of minutes or seconds from one place to another, and that's the technology you're basically purchasing. You're purchasing buying or trading power within the blockchain, right? And as the blockchain gets more advanced and people understand the uses of it, we'll start seeing the blockchain used for things like, what's that company called? Zazo? Lazos or something. It's the kind of the counter to Uber and what's it called? Lyft. And they're using that technology to kind of bypass those fees and get more people involved. So back to the charts, but that's what you kind of have to understand with these markets is that they're not just speculative, that you also have people that, okay, you have a lot of people hoarding coins. I'm hoarding coins. You have a lot of people trading coins, but I think you have a lot of people using it for that technology. And when I say that money got confiscated, that means that those coins are no longer on the market. So you create a tight supply flow, right? The supply is limited even more, and people have to go back into the market and purchase those coins again to use that technology. And so with 12.5 or 12 coins being released every 10 minutes as opposed to 25 coins being released every 10 minutes, then you just have a lower supply, and it's just simple supply and demand economics. And value. But let's see what we got here. So 658, it looks like. Here's my little run up to the top. What I want to show you guys, and I showed you how to do this in one of my other videos, but in my opinion, the two biggest things, the easiest tools that you want to get familiar with are recognizing where your resistance points are, where there's heavy buying pressure, why there's heavy buying pressure, and how many times has it reached to that line and pulled back, retraced, right? And so I look at it as like lifting weights. You plateau at a certain point, but then hopefully you get stronger and past that to your next line of resistance or your next plateau, and then you work on getting stronger. So, and then the next thing, so we want to mark out our zones of resistance, and these can be broken all the time, and then you have to kind of look at the market, reevaluate it, and put new areas of resistance in, and kind of mark those out, and then sit back and watch. Because sometimes the best trade you can make is no trade at all. You don't really want to overtrade these markets because we want to look at the big picture. We want to see, okay, there's two sides to this full-on trade, the front side and the back side. So for instance, let me pull this up. So we want to trade here where we just have a nice healthy pattern, healthy run to the top. And, breakout, little pullback, consolidation, support, new support, breakout, consolidation, new level of support, strong support, because we see that this has happened for quite a while now. That's what I mean by over trading. You don't want to get too caught up in here. Like, it wouldn't be bad to buy because it's a new zone of support or new level of support, and then you can see the next level isn't far behind it. But that's what I mean by strong, that it's continuing the trend, going kind of sideways, and sideways isn't always bad. And then we spring and then we pop, right? And then we do it again, pull back a little bit, and then retest, and we pass prior level of resistance like we did here. But when I want to show you, like, with the front side of a trade, the back side almost mirrored it at first. We had this retracement because of, the Bretrix. We had the Dow uncertainty. We also had the Bitfinex, Bitfinex glitched out on us. So if I were to move this square, if I can move it, yeah, let's do that. Let's zoom in. Okay, if I were to move it over here and really focus in this backside, we have a lot of heavy swings, retracements, but it's a lot of chop. We see different lines of support not really holding up. The only real constant that we can mark out is this $700 zone of resistance. But then if we're looking at the closer charts, which that's what I'm kind of bringing in now, the microscopic view. So if we look at the big picture, we can see right here, almost like a double top, we have two tries at $700 that couldn't break past. And then we had, the whole uncertainty with the halving coming up, people not really knowing how that would affect, and we had some sell-off right before that happened. But when I bring it into the bigger picture, or the smaller picture, we can see I put a little line of resistance at the 665 zone, and or 660 almost. And we see that we're breaking out of that trend almost. So essentially, we can hit 660 again, 665, but I'm keeping a close eye here at 665 and see if we really have a breakout, because it may take a few hours, it may take a few days. We just have to keep a look on it. So we can see here on this candle, let me zoom in even more. So if we were to compare the past to the future, we can see, we kind of had retracements, and then how much did this candle move in the matter of an hour? Before, we were almost on line with that same situation. So what I mean by that is, if we want to compare this candle here to this candle here, the same situation, we had some heavy, nice consolidation here over a few hours. And normally I don't break it down in the hourly chart, but I'm just really want to take it to the microscopic view to see if this is a potential breakout. So here we had a pullback, and we want to see where that pullback happened. So I'm going to put that same line and line it up to where we are. So that was a little bit above where we are right now, or right before we started to see this breakout trend happen. And we can see, okay, let's compare this candle to that candle. So we're still midday. We can see it's Sunday, so usually that could be a result. More people home, more people off. Maybe this first run came from China. We know that 90% of the Chinese are kind of in control of this market. And let's compare it. So let's say let's just call this an even 650. 650, and then it went to 663, 662. So if we start to follow this and it goes in the same trend, it's likely that it can hit 660, 665 and pull back. So that might be an opportunity to short, like we saw what happened right here. And then we had a new level of lower lows. But if we look at the support right here, it seemed to catch on it at 630, 635 and bounce back up again. So that would kind of be your hedge or your quick swing trade or your scalp trade if you wanted to break it down. I wouldn't suggest over trading these markets like that, but I just wanted to give you guys some insight of how I break down some trades, how I use leverage to really maximize my profits in these little ranges, because we really want to be investing or buying coins down here. And there's easy ways to see these kind of things. This momentum is starting to build up for something like this to happen. But here, and if what I want to show you with this is, if you guys can trade money in here and make money and really put your tools to work. And I need to give you guys some of the more videos of the tools I use. I just kind of do this as a hobby, these videos as a hobby on the side to kind of help you guys out. I mean, if I could help anyone get out of the 9-to-5 rat race bullshit, I'm here to do that, because I've been there before. I've been to the bottom of the barrel. I've had asshole bosses. I've had coworkers gunning for my position. I just clock in every day just trying to work hard, and I still got to look over my shoulder, right? Well, I'm not in that whole trap anymore, and I know there's a lot of good people out there that were in the same situation as me, just people, good heart, just good intentions. You want to work as a team, but the way some people were raised, man, I just don't get it. So I'm trying to talk to all you people out there with good hearts. I know I have a few friends of mine that kind of I met through my journey in life that I got them onto Bitcoin, and I would love to do what I can to help them out, give them some extra cash, and maybe just show everyone the overall potential, anyone that's willing to listen to me, the overall potential to get out of the rat race. So yeah, that's how I kind of break down a possible breakout. What I wanted to show you as well, so let's go over the 4 parts of a breakout. So first of all, I like to, well, maybe 6 parts. So first of all, I like to mark where we had prior level of resistance, where we had prior level of selling, or prior, yeah, pressure selling, pressure on the market to sell. So line of resistance, right? Then we want to see, where did we have prior support? Where did Bitcoin fall and not drop past? Where was, there's a healthy, buying pressure, and we can see, okay, we can mark that there, right? Because we see we bounced off of that number here. We bounced off of it kind of here. We went a little far, but I mean, I could bring down the bar a little bit if you wanted to go to the low of the lows. But we see, if I put that line, we're about the 654 range, and we bounce off that. So that's a support in just this small time frame, And like I said, the support and resistance are always changing, and when they break, you got to reevaluate the market. So those are the really big indicators, or the tools that I use to begin with. Once I have those marked out, then I'll take a trend line, and I'll say, okay, I bought back here, which I don't like anticipating the market. I like reacting to it. So we can see the trend was healthy because I'm going off of the lows, and we see we have higher lows. So 1, 2, 3 higher lows, and then we also have to line that up with the highs. So that's kind of your resistance zone. Or if you wanted to take this, let me try to click on that. We saw that we can line the highs up with the lower highs, and we can see where that bisects, where is, if it was, for instance, to go sideways and continue to go here, it's kind of what we call a squeeze, and that's kind of a moment of truth. Is it going to go down or up? But we can see we broke that trend here before we continued, so it was more likely to go to the downside. And we can see once we broke that trend there, it really fell, not substantial amount. We're looking at a 1-hour graph chart, but look at that's almost spot on. As soon as it hit there, we pulled back. It was already falling, but we saw that we had a substantial amount of retracement in this small little chart. And you can take it and look at the bigger picture too. But I wanted to show you, let me try to delete this. So we have the resistance and support set up. Well, there's usually about 4 parts. So we have the initial run up, right? We test resistance. Then we have a pullback. Okay, pull back to prior levels of support. Then we have a retest. So we try to hit that mark again, that level of resistance. And then either we possibly would have a breakout, because it would break past the prior level of resistance, or just pull this down, or we have another pullback, and then we can go through the same test again. You know, some consolidation, another potential run to test resistance, and then either we pass that line of resistance or boom, we fall to new lower lows, and we can line that up with prior levels of support. So that's when you want to look at the bigger picture. Prior level of support there. And we seem to bounce off that, and then we continued to fall back in another level of support. So you have to even widen out the picture a little more to give you an idea of, hey, what's the next level of support? So these are all support levels, and then we can look at levels of resistance like we had at the $700. So what I'm trying to really show you guys is if we were to break out, like I was showing you, if the trend were to break out here, then the next level of resistance that we would test would be around the $700 mark. So those are your price points. That's where you want to manage your risks and say, okay, where will I pull out my profits? Where is it likely to fall back if I don't? So this helps you manage your risk tightly. But I don't like trading in this little thing because you got to be on top of the markets nonstop. You know, look at that. We're almost at 659. 650. Yeah, man. So, 33. That's my lucky number. So that's what I'm doing. I'm keeping a real close eye on that. If we hit 660 and or go to like 665, I might start scaling in at that price point because we could potentially go to 700. And we also have to keep in mind the 12.5 Bitcoins that that are reduced to, you know, people are going to start realizing this technology, but it's going to be more in demand, and the supply is getting cut in half. So simple supply and demand. But I wanted to show you guys the tools. So I know I keep repeating myself, and what I want to show you with what's going on right now is, let's delete some of this. So I've marked out resistance, which we got about 665. I marked out prior level of support, which recently kind of been in the 642, 636 area. But now look at this long candle. Look at this almost breakout pattern. And if we break out from, you know, we were at about 649, 650, which we did have quite a bit of support there. But now we're shooting. You know, we're breaking out of that trend. So what I like to do is see a stair-step trend, you know. But what we really got to do is see if there's too much pressure to sell at 660. And, you know, only time will tell, but I'm just showing you guys how to keep an eye on this stuff. I'll try to shorten up my videos with time, but I just have so much information, and I even cut it down with this. And I know Elon Musk says, you know, what is it? A well-formed critique is as good as gold. So what I would really like to do is sit down, write out all the different aspects, really organize it for you guys. But this is just kind of something I do with my side time. I really actually spend too much time on this, and my wife hates it. But I just kind of like to. This is my hobby. I enjoy it. See, look at we almost got to 660, and we pulled back 60. But we're still on the higher end of 680 or 658. So I look at the different time zones. I'm kind of at the furthest one in the Pacific. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I hope this helps you guys. I'm thinking about, I'll be moving to Vegas soon. So I was thinking about getting some finance guys on my podcast, or getting a podcast together. It's just a matter of if I have time. You know, I've been doing this full time, but I have a pretty good job opportunity for an engineering position in Vegas. And I'm trying to make something with this happen before I may inevitably have to take the position, which is not a big deal. I like it. It's challenging, but I love this. I love it. And eventually, I think if you see the technology the same way I do, and you fall down that Bitcoin rabbit hole, and maybe you're in a job you don't like, you can immerse yourself in the technology and find some way. Combine it with entrepreneurism. You know, combine it with learning the principles of business, and then from there, you know, try a business out with no capital. There's ways of doing it. You know, there's angel investors, there's Kickstarter, there's Indiegogo, and most businesses, you know, you kind of want to try to figure out how to do it without any capital. Because I've started companies with, you know, I had like 20, 30 grand to start off, and I wasted that money like no other. And then there's companies that I started that maybe I had 4 grand to start off with, but I really only needed maybe 16 grand. or 1600. Those companies got me to the point where I was making almost $19,000 a day. No, it didn't last forever. I thought it would, but it didn't. But man, I enjoyed my life during that time, and I put some money aside, and now I'm back into Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin is it can potentially transfer the power of wealth from people that are so trusted in the Wall Street, so trusted in our banking system, that I believe there'll be some moment of bisecting where there's just a singularity where people jump on it. One day you wake up, you know, when you buy a new car and you see everyone that has it after you buy it, it's going to be like that with Bitcoin, I think, soon. Not soon, but not sooner than later. You know, I think there will be a day that comes, an event horizon, where it just happens and people, you look everywhere around and people are talking about Bitcoin or using Bitcoin, or companies are accepting Bitcoin, or they're, you know, putting it into their financial infrastructure, you know, putting some aside. So yeah, that's why I'm here. I try to get here first, help you guys out. I learned a lot about trading through some cryptocurrency courses I took. I have about 2 mentors. They got about 25 years experience between them trading futures, stocks, currencies, commodities. I'm sure the list can go on, but yeah, I'm just trying to put my 2 cents up there, help you guys maybe get out of the rat race. All right, take care and have a good one. Please leave your comments at the bottom, because I really would love to have a different perspective if I'm wrong about any of this. And I must also have, a disclaimer that I'm not here to give you any financial advice. I'm not really here to tell you how to trade the market. I'm just trying to show you the tools that traders use to analyze things, and that they don't need to be that complex. And I would highly recommend just start playing around with the idea of drawing your lines of resistance, drawing your lines of support like we have here, and then breaking it down from there. And, you know, not playing too much in this chop, in this, you know, kind of unpredictable atmosphere. You want to be paying in here. So I'm going to make another video. I know this one went a little long, but please take care, treat each other like you would yourselves, and I hope you're all doing well.